fuck is wrong with you? So
Our sponsor this week is Nancy Reagan, Guzzling Cum.
here we go. Oh my God, you landed that plane. I'm impressed.
So many possible worlds, but we got this one. So many possible worlds, but we got this one.
So, hey AJ,
Yes,
you know what Christmas brings out?
the best in me.
The cranks.
Emotions.
Oh.
Chris Anthony let me know this in the opening of this next episode that we're going to talk about.
More like
Monty's
Christmas, Anthony.
That's actually a good point.
This really does go against Whit's main maxim that it's not the arguing season, it is the holiday season.
That is a mantra I've heard.
This is the start of the holiday season, not the arguing season.
There he is.
This is, again, called Monty's Christmas.
Yeah.
The arguing season is already in full force.
Yeah,
This is-
full swing.
This is the sort of nonsense-esque sequel to the Full Monty. David Yazbek fell on some hard times, and now he's just doing a holiday for each Full Monty.
Oh boy, yeah, I guess. I mean, Band's Visit did pretty well, so I think he's fine.
No, he's struggling. A lot of gambling debts.
Oh.
Jesus.
Yeah, Eric Bogosian keeps running after him with the gun.
Whit with those tangled lights, am I right?
Oh, am I right?
Oh, you try and wrap them up. But you know what's really interesting is that it's fun seeing Whit nervous
Yeah.
or like Whit uncomfortable. It's an entirely like
Seeing him as an actual human being.
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. And he's used so sparingly in this episode too. Like we barely see
Yeah.
Whit. And
Which is I think a strong choice and a good one.
yeah. And I mean, I think y'all talk about this
Because there's
once.
nothing he can do. You know, his position.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have a good relationship with his daughter. They're trying.
And we very clearly see this at the top of the episode,
Yeah.
too, with what's going on, because Whit is trying to untangle these Christmas lights and doing a poor job of it.
Fucking it up, per usual.
He fucks it up. He tries to pull out the twinkling lights, and they don't.
He gets zapped.
He gets
Briefly
zapped.
sees God. God is a
Yeah.
giant otter with 3 heads, and he realizes everything he thought was wrong, which is why he's silent for most of the rest of the episode.
Meanwhile, Monty, who, again, we'll remember from before, is Whit's grandson.
And Monty is the one he hit, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the one he set right.
So
yeah.
there's a lot of things like in this episode that talk about like Monty's emotional trauma and what's
Yes,
like, what does he have to be traumatized
let me
about?
grab that clip
Yeah.
specifically, because here we have his sister, also named Jenny after her grandmother.
I don't know what's gotten into Monty lately. He's been in the strangest mood ever since we got here.
Adolescent trauma, I presume.
Why do you say that?
Because
Well, I don't know.
beat the
I
fuck
read
out
about
of
it in
him.
one of Grandpa's books.
Dad?
I think I'm going to have to be more careful with the books I let you read, Jenny.
Why? Sounds like she's doing some astute reading. I mean, she's going to use that to bully him, and she kind of does.
Right,
but,
yeah, she's kind of an asshole, which I
yeah,
love.
she's a weird kid. She's an overachiever. Monty, of course, is not good at really anything.
Although
But this feels like a real person.
yes, God, does it ever? That's
In a way that so many kids on this show are just one note,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
talking like they're 45-year-old
no.
men.
Whereas
you
the
know?
character of Jenny, we set this up as being like that fucking kid who like makes a show of being precocious, which is an entire kind of kid. And
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, I kind of was that kid. So like I completely
this is 90% of the Adventures in Odyssey audience. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like all these kids are like this.
But I very specifically like have memories of times where, you know, when you grow up as a kid and you are the kind of person who has more of an inclination toward like, you know, performance.
Right.
One of the things that you're always doing is you are evaluating your audience.
Yeah.
And when you are the kind of kid who has a pretty good vocabulary and the ability to sort of read adults and sort of delight them by being fucking young Sheldon.
I fucking love delighting adults.
Don't we all?
It's so true though. Like, I mean, it's a funny phrase, but like, yeah, you hit it so hard.
Yeah, I hit it extremely hard because that was what I had at that time.
Yeah.
I was the kind of kid who was honestly, I don't know. I only remember the memories of myself, but looking back at like some of the videos and stuff of me as a kid, there's like this recording of me playing with a little Lego thing that I had built and saying to the camera, like talking about this fucking submarine thing that I'd built and explaining all the different parts. And I turn to the camera and I go, so what are these lights for? You might ask. Like I was that kid.
I feel like that was in one of the original drafts of the influencer script too. It said, so what do these influencers do, you may ask?
Yeah.
Well, but I feel like I was very similar in that way. I feel like I was a little bit more Monty though, because Monty takes the tactic of just like when he doesn't know what to do with his emotions, he breaks shit.
And he's not breaking shit on purpose either. It's like
Right.
It's also one of the. I mean, maybe he could be. Who knows? But like, it is also like he just keeps fucking everything up. And this is something that he wrestles with in all of these episodes that happened this winter season that they decided to write a bunch of Monty episodes, Monty, Jenny, Jana episodes. He is struggling, and every time something goes wrong, his mom immediately just jumps on him.
And this is the thing too that I was honestly put a bit genuinely on edge by this scene in a way that was very, very effective.
Yeah.
For a number of reasons. First of all, it's clear that Jana still carries, of course, the trauma of her own childhood with her. We learned that as a child, she was nicknamed Bump because she was always bumping into shit. Also,
which is such a cruel nickname.
It is. And after Monty knocks over and breaks the little glass angel, Whit really passive aggressively is like, well, I'm surprised you didn't knock it over before, Bump. And it's like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah. It's like,
I mean, part of it is like he is trying to be like, you really shouldn't be this fucking mad at your kid right now. Like kids break stuff. That is That's just that comes with the territory.
But there's also just enough of the turn of the knife that we are again reminded of. This is not a good relationship here. This is a fractured relationship that was fractured all the way back when Jerry died in Vietnam and Whit sort of like closed himself off emotionally.
And even, probably before Jerry died in Vietnam.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think they talk about that too. It's like even before
so
Jerry died, they were
critical.
distanced.
That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. Right. And that at that point, it was like they never had a good conversation again.
Right.
Yeah. So
that undergirds this whole thing. They're trying to like force a good Christmas because they are not a happy family.
Right.
They're trying to be the Barclays.
Right.
And they really struggle with it every step of the way. And so they're trying intentionally to do it, which is by itself just very high tension. And then something goes wrong, and it goes wrong in the form of Monty fucking up and breaking something.
And this is always what high tension environments are really like.
Yeah.
When everybody is essentially performing something, which in this case, it's a performance of sort of domestic bliss, right? The idea of what like a good Christmas ought to be like. One little thing going wrong, it's not about what the thing actually is, what it means, what the actual real life consequences are. Instead, it's about what subsequent things it can set off. Once the tension is broken, once it's now possible to bring out the, put up your dukes basically, and you can't break that tension because if you do, immediately everything is going to fall apart. It's a house of cards.
So what we see with this is Monty is waiting to see if his dad's going to call.
Right.
Jenny doesn't really have any kind of connection like that with her dad, which I think is a really interesting thing.
I think she's a little too young.
Yeah, he had already left. She doesn't like him. She doesn't care if he wants to talk to her or not, and he doesn't anyway. So it works out for her.
Right.
But Monty wants to talk to his dad.
Right.
And his grandpa can't fill that role because his grandpa's gonna fucking hit him.
Right.
Right. And then Whit says like, it's not like you to be such a loner. And I'm like, fuck you, man. You made me a loner.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like Monty is waiting for that, and then his dad calls, but it's really just like a shitty conversation.
Yep. And this
where
is
he doesn't really want to talk to his kids, and Jana's like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why can't you just do like the bare minimum?"
And this is the rare like good one-sided phone call.
Yeah.
In fact, this is how you actually do a one-sided phone call, right? Rather than the police, that's who you are. Pure exposition.
The ex-husband, that's what you are.
My ex-husband. What this is doing instead is it's actually heightening the stakes dramatically beyond what you would experience if you were hearing both sides of the conversation, because your brain is kind of filling in the blanks of what's going on here. One of the parts that I found most I guess, heartbreaking about this was like right after Jana hangs up on Monty's dad. Monty's like, but I really wanted to talk to him.
I don't care, Phil. You do what you want. I am through fighting about it. Ugh, that man.
Mom!
What?
I wanted to talk to him.
Oh, no, you didn't. He wasn't fit for conversation. Where's Jenny?
But I did. You never let me talk to him.
Monty, he never calls you. He never writes to you, and he won't even get your Christmas gifts here on time. Why do you want to talk to him?
Because he's my dad.
Yes, some dad. Take your boots off. You're getting snow all over the floor.
Why do you always have to say that, huh? Why do you have to always cut him down?
I just say it like it is. If that's cutting him down, then that's what he deserves.
But he's still my dad, you know, even if he isn't your husband anymore. I hate it when you talk bad about him.
You just remember something, Monty. I'm not the one who walked out. He did. And while he's off playing it free and easy, I'm the one who stayed to raise you kids, to feed you, to clean up after you. And if you don't like it, then maybe you should have gone to live with him.
Well, maybe if you gave me the choice, I would have.
Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
it's like it's just
I have to say, I do feel a little bit for Phil in this circumstance, because if I were stuck in a time loop in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, then I too wouldn't be able to get my gifts there on time.
But then you'd be a groundhog. I mean, who's getting married to a fucking groundhog?
me.
No, Phil Connors. Josh, Phil Connors.
He was in Genesis.
Punks. I like that we went in 3 different directions with that joke.
And we all ended up in the same place, which is disappointed. No, I mean, it's
Tim
obviously
Minchin really didn't deliver, but
I think at the
fuck you. That music is fucking great. Fuck you. I love that show. No, but there is something that's like it's so rare that Odyssey has such a tendency in dialogue construction to have things not escalate on each other,
Yes.
or have people not really listening to
Yes.
each other. And it's amazing that the flow the dialogue has in this scene and how believable these people sound in
Yes.
a way that
and they both
it's
just
so
go
stilted
all
most
the way
of the time.
in
Yes.
on it too.
Yeah.
I think that the only thing that maybe feels a little less than fully real is at the very end, which to me was more a function of like, we have to get this in here within a certain amount of time. In real life, a conversation like that would continue to spiral for a little while before it hit a point like that.
Also, the MIDI backing it up
That
makes it a
didn't
little
help.
bit more
It's-
like chintzy.
yeah.
But like, you know, for the most part, it's
It's like that moment in Trains, Planes, and Automobiles when John Candy is doing his monologue, you know, the I like me monologue. And then like you get the little synth music
Right.
going underneath and you're like, God damn it, John Hughes.
yeah. I think right, and also right before this scene, we haven't talked about it yet, but they do bring up the fact that there is a non-binary snow friend.
Yeah, that was so
That is
funny.
outside
That
on the
was
lawn.
so funny.
But it's also in a way that's not like a non-binary erasure. Like it's actually
No.
like fully embracing. And I was just like, holy shit, okay.
Jenny is moving beyond gender.
It's so funny.
That's why
It's
they can't
really
bring her
cool.
back.
Like I was genuinely really shocked
I agree.
and delighted by it.
That happens a couple scenes after this, but I liked that. I liked the way that
If Paul McCusker heard what you were saying about this scene, he would
he would immediately go back and rewrite
apoplectic
it.
fit.
It wasn't a funny scene because again they have a really hard time writing comedy.
Yes.
No.
But I think it was supposed to be funny because
here,
it was
here in the dramatic sections, you can really see Paul McCusker is coming into his own
Yes.
as a writer. He really he's starting to understand like what you should be doing as a writer. You can't just do the like, let's model a family where no one has any bad attitudes,
Right.
like down Gilead Lane.
Right.
You know, all those bad attitudes from that Michigan
attitude.
show. People have to
Drag
struggle.
Josh's
These are
past.
characters we designed.
Josh's
These are characters that were designed at the very beginning. These are, Jana and Monty show up in family portraits
Sure.
before Odyssey happens.
right.
And they have designed them to be a struggle and people
Yep.
who say the wrong things to each other and say it on purpose. I mean,
Yes.
Jana's conversation, she doesn't mean this when she says it, but she's like, oh yeah, that guy that you think is so great, he doesn't think you're great.
yeah, God,
Yeah. Which is
that's
fucking
of course what
awful.
Monty hears. That's not what she means.
right.
She's not an abusive mother.
No.
But it is like she is taking her perception of him, and also in that call right after the call, the thing that she says where she's like, he was in no state to speak or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like now this is a line that wouldn't necessarily get through to kids,
It
which
wasn't
is the
fit
point.
for conversation.
Not fit for conversation. I mean, he was probably drunk, right?
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
this is that fucking drunk, blubbering. Oh, I forgot the presents. And like, in that moment, if your ex has let you down yet again and let your fucking kids down again, and all he has is excuses and like, oh, I forgot, and he's drunk. Yeah, you're going to want to, like, the first thing you are going to want to do is fucking throttle him. You turn around, you see a little version of that guy.
Yeah.
That's like, that's real fucking shit.
Well, and it's complicated too, in a way that a lot of these episodes are so like binary, like good and evil thing that like to like live in this mess is really, really lovely and very refreshing. And then of course we move on from this into a conversation between father and daughter.
Yes,
I believe, where she admits that she sees her ex in her son to Whit, which is, I think, very, very interesting. And a kind of emotional honesty that I was not prepared for from this episode, quite frankly.
I didn't necessarily buy that she would be this open necessarily, given how difficult their relationship is. But on the other hand, I can see how if she is already in an emotionally raw state, which she would be, that like having anything resembling a lifeline might feel necessary.
I think that there is too much of the inclination to just wrap things up. Again, it's not just to tell a story in 22 minutes, but to like get it all to the point where everyone reconciles. Yeah. When it didn't need to be that, especially since we were going to have another episode with Monty.
Oh, wow.
In this same season.
Right.
And we just had one before. It feels like that's them starting to sort of stitch things up where someone is like, you know what? You're right. This is my motivation. This is the thing that I was thinking.
Well, especially because this
doesn't really happen unless you have some distance to be able to start piecing that together.
Especially because this whole conversation ends with like Whit being like, well, maybe I can talk to him.
He will listen to me, a man.
But then he doesn't.
Yeah.
He sure does not.
Which I loved.
Monty goes to the mall. He fucks off to the mall once more.
Whit tries to show him around Whit's End, but Monty's like, nope, I'm leaving. And Connie notices, by the way, that Monty is super sullen, which is an important point.
Yeah, this is an intentional thing that she ends up doing, where they go to the mall, where he goes to the mall, and he sees Connie there.
Yeah.
And Connie's just like, I've got a problem. I'm trying to find a gift for my dad, but I don't know what to get him.
Yeah.
Because he's not around. He's in California. Yeah. And Monty's like,
my dad's in California.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, oh, wait, what are you saying? And she's like, yeah. My parents are divorced, blah, blah, blah. It's nice. I mean, like this, I mean,
this
again,
is my favorite scene that I've heard in all of Odyssey.
Oh,
far and away.
I felt like it tightened up a little too much. Like I think it lands a little too pat
at
by
the very
end.
end.
Yeah, by the very end, but like
this
the middle
is
section
great. She talks about the fountain and how the city of Odyssey decided to do a thing.
That was so
like,
funny.
We'll make the fountain run red and green, and then it just
brown.
mixes and turns brown.
That's very funny.
That's very funny, and it is exactly the kind of thing that the citizens of Odyssey would do.
Yeah,
which is why it's so funny.
But what an apt metaphor also for like just the people of Odyssey's like entire outlook on the world, which is like we're going to show these beautiful like teachings of red and green, and it just ends up like this brown mush. But they end up going to Dan Flash's in order to buy some incredibly complicated shirts.
I loved, by the way. Can we just talk a second about the sound design in this scene?
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is something Odyssey does well from the very beginning. You know where you are. You know where the characters are in relation to the scene and in relation to each other.
But I could even
and this
hear,
is one of those places where it really stands out.
God,
you feel that mall.
You could hear the fountain. You could hear them walking through the mall. You could hear where they were in the mall change as they walked through it. You could hear them in the clothing store. You could hear
that guy in the distance who's just going, Jason, Jason.
You can hear the sound of
You're
like
the thud of the car hitting the kid.
you can hear the sound of rifling through shirts, like the sound of clothes hangers going across the little pole and like taking one down and looking at it and putting back up again.
You can hear how loud the pink and green shirt is.
Right.
Like I got I like a visceral image of like a Rugrats shirt when she pulled it out, and you could hear the local clown blowing up balloons.
It is such a 90s palette too. Like
it was cool though.
Pink and green. Yeah, and so they have this conversation
that is so lovely and so real and
God, yeah.
And Connie just basically says sometimes your mom yells at you because she's really wanting to yell at your dad.
Yeah.
Which I think is still just like a little too like women be crazy kind of thing.
No,
But,
I disagree. I disagree.
okay.
I don't.
Interesting.
I didn't get that vibe.
I didn't think about that either. I see it now that you say it, but it really did feel like, hey, your parents are people in a way that I think is actually an incredibly difficult and complex lesson that I was very surprised ended up on this show.
And it's hard. It's hard to explain something like this to kids too, right? Because at the end of the day, this is a show for children, and you don't want to present something that is going to like overwhelm a kid.
Right.
But what you do want to do is help them make sense of something that doesn't make sense. Because at the end of the day,
like I remember Sesame Street tried to do a divorce episode, and then they never aired it because they just, because they always test all of their shows. They always have like a focus group of children who come in and watch it.
So they focus on the family, is what you're saying?
They do. They actually do.
Yeah.
And they never put it out because they've done episodes about death and about hurricanes and things like that, but like they just they couldn't get it to land in a way that wasn't
because this is such a like adult thing. But it's also not. Like in situations like this, what is going on is adults are behaving largely irrationally. And it is hard to explain to a child that sometimes adults act irrationally without also making kids deeply, deeply confused about like, well, does that mean that I can ever listen to them? Like, do they still care about me? Are adults like, because a kid's logic and a kid's mind, especially an adolescent mind, is already asking so many questions.
Yeah.
And you want to keep the adolescent mind open to questions like that. You want them to be able to continue exploring, but you also don't want to overwhelm somebody to an extent that they fundamentally then take it back to, well, if my parents like are so angry toward each other all the time, does that mean that they hate me too? Like, do they resent me because they see me at, it's such a hard line to walk.
Fine, guys. I'm wrong. I'm a fucking asshole. Apparently I just want Adventures in Odyssey, every episode to just be other desert cities, and we can't have that. I don't even know other desert cities. I just assume it's about divorces and family troubles.
No. Other desert cities is about throwing your sister off a boat and having her drowned.
Should it be the Lions?
I mean, maybe
God of Carnage. I don't fucking know.
See those plays.
Other desert cities. I don't even remember if that's the plot of it, but I do remember that the twist happened at the end, and the characters on stage went, "Oh my god!" And my entire audience I was sitting with was like, "Okay." Like
People
it was just so
coming to terms with things. And I do love that the scene is not like there's no apology.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no lesson. There's no gesture, right? That's the other thing you do in a sitcom is like if you're not going to do just like an apology, someone has to make a gesture. They bring something to somebody or accomplish something that appeases that other person. Right. No, they just hear Monty is out front with Connie throwing snowballs, and then they're like, hey, let's go throw snowballs.
But Monty does buy a gift for his mom.
Yeah,
he does buy a gift for his mom.
But
he does replace the angel.
The other thing that I thought was so sweet about that is that a lesser episode, a lesser script, and a lesser episode of Odyssey, which is most
gift.
of them, would have him being like, Mom, I'm so sorry. Here's and then it's like, an angel for me. Whereas what it really was like.
And then she gives him the NES putting challenge game.
Right. And then he's like.
I recommend putter. You have chosen driver.
You have selected power drive.
Oh man, because apologizing is also like such a tense thing.
Yes,
it is so much of like we have to have the perfect apology, we have to have someone accept it and all that, and it's like let's just throw some fucking snowballs.
Yep.
Like let's just be Whit goes out there.
Whit has fun,
which is wild. Whit having fun.
They all
so
just
weird.
are like, let's enjoy the winter time.
And
he misgenders the snow friend, but beyond that,
but of course he does.
I'd say he's trying, but he's not.
he's absolutely not. No.
I loved that. Like, yeah, when Monty gives his mom the present, you hear her, well up a little bit.
Yeah, it's really emotional.
But there isn't the moment again of like, oh, you got me a snow. Instead, you got me an angel.
Yeah.
Instead, what we hear is Whit being like, wait, so what was that? And kind of like, it was an angel. And like that's like, that's a much better way.
Yeah,
that's a much better way to do that.
It's kind of the fun thing is that it hand waves it away, but then the audience puts more importance on it because it has been hand waved by the characters. Because the characters don't want to feel it, so then the audience feels it for them.
Exactly. And that's just good writing.
It's a good fucking magic
Way
trick.
to go, Paul McCusker.
Yeah.
No more notes.
Yeah, no.
For now.
AJ.
Yeah.
Question for you.
Hi.
This is the first episode of Adventures in Odyssey that you've listened to that you've liked.
Yeah, all the way through.
So question for you.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
I was kind of overwhelmed. The note I wrote at the end was, "Oh God, do I love this episode? Fuck, God damn it!" And I don't know. We've talked a little bit about like the realness of the episode after the like just absolute abuse, right? Which was so very like actually dealing with the messiness of it, which I think is Odyssey at its best so far. This was the first one that all the way through I was rooting for everyone to try and get better. Like I was actively rooting for this, like actually to have a happy holiday, because I think
As opposed to just going off into a ditch and fucking dying.
yeah, well, exactly. Like, I mean, I feel like this made me like actually feel for Whit in a way because it showed him powerless, which is so important because he is such a like, he's a god in this town. So like to see him actually struggle with something is really lovely and nice. And I think every single family has had to deal with at least one holiday where some shit has gone down.
Yes.
And everyone is just trying not to say or feel the thing that is in the room. And I think this episode does a really great job of encapsulating that. And also, genuinely, like, I think one of the reasons, we talked about Sesame Street not being able to land the plane on the whole divorce thing. I'm not a child of divorce myself, but
none of us are, right?
No, I don't think so. But I'm friends with a lot of people who were growing up, and I could never help them because I couldn't give them like light at the end of the tunnel. And it's so lovely that Connie, of all people, is just like, hey man, I've been there.
Yes.
It gets better.
And that was that scene, and I see why that was the scene that jumped out for you, because I agree. It was such a incredible showing of just profound empathy.
Yeah.
And something that I think about a little bit is, Adventures in Odyssey is, as we know, a Christian show. It is purportedly about Christian values and living up to the ideals of the big man, Jesus Christ himself.
Yeah.
And to me personally, that moment right there, that conversation, I think is what it means to be actually Christ-like. If we're talking about the idea of expressing all of these sort of virtues that are often considered signs of weakness and holding them up instead as valorous.
Yes.
And being willing to connect with people and really put oneself at potential risk of harm for the sake of simply connecting with somebody else in a way that will make their life better, even if it doesn't necessarily make your life better, or maybe may even make your own life worse.
Yes.
That to me is what Connie did in that moment. And I found it also pretty fucking profound, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just have to give you the last thing about Monty's Christmas.
Oh no.
Is it Chris?
So it's not Chris. It's just that every episode of Adventures in Odyssey has a scripture attached to it, right? Because it's focused on the family. It's not Catholic. There has to be something literally in the Bible.
Yes.
That connects to the topic at hand. So, the verse for Monty's Christmas, if you look it up on AIO Wiki or the study materials or like the album that it comes in,
I'm dreading this.
Malachi 2:16.
Oh, the Malachi, that old banger of a book.
Malachi 2:16 says,
Please say it's a passage about a snow friend.
I hate divorce, says the Lord, the God of Israel, because the man who divorces his wife covers his garment with violence.
What?
First of all, that is a metal fucking line. Holy shit.
Yeah, covers his garment with violence rules. That is not.
That's not the message.
episode.
Can you imagine if Chris had ended the episode reading that off? Like, holy
in the
fuck.
same tone as the Lord will extract vengeance on his enemies. See you next time.
Lock your doors. Here comes the Lord.
So many possible worlds, but we got this one. So many possible worlds, but we got this one.
Hey, did you like that? Well, it was just a preview. In fact, we have 4 more episodes that we talked about here if you just go to our Patreon and subscribe. We have another Christmas episode, very weird and Inspector Calls-esque Christmas episode, 2 episodes about Elijah, and an episode where we meet the terror of the tiny town of Odyssey, USA, Rodney Rathbone. You should come over, check us out. Anyway, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. In jail. It's a wonderful life. And